Hello and welcome to AP Studio Art with Educator.com. We're going to be looking at another breadth section today, another breadth project on repetition. So it's actually a principle and element, very in line with our grading curriculum and what College Board is looking for. So let's get right into it. All right, so what is repetition? Echoing or repeating a shape in your photo. So a lot of times people get confused about what repetition really is, and it's not that you need the exact same shape that comes over and over and over, but you need something that is similar. So echoing or repeating a shape that is similar in your photo. All right, also it gives instant composition to your photographs. So using repetition just kind of emphasizes the subject, and it really gives your picture kind of a stronger feel to it. It feels real intense and stronger. It generally just makes pictures look better. All right. You can use repetition to grab the attention of your viewer. So a lot of times repetitive pictures tend to be very, very dynamic. People look at them because it's really intense. They're very bold, right? It's not just a simple, landscape. It's bold because there's something that's repeating over and over, right? And it tends to make the viewer want to know a little bit more about what is that subject. So it pulls you in, which is a good thing. Okay, so a great example of repetition in architecture. This picture is really dynamic for a couple of different reasons, but the biggest reason is because these windows are being repeated over and over and over and over. All right, but what makes this a really compelling photograph and not boring is this little element right here, this light post. So even though your photograph emphasizes repetition, even though this subject matter is being repeated over and over and over, it's okay to use repetition to emphasize something else, right? So a repetitive background can emphasize a subject. You want to use that repetition to point our eye towards whatever it is that is your main subject in the photograph. So this is a great example with architecture. All right, so repetition with objects. So there's lots of different types of objects that you probably have lying around your house that you don't even know are great examples of repetition. So this is actually just a chair back, right? It's just the edge. And it seems kind of strange, but it's just zoomed in so close. It's almost like, a really emphasized, really close-up picture. You get kind of an abstracted form to it, which is okay. Kind of creates a really beautiful photo. But with the color and that repeated kind of spot that's open on this chair, it makes a really beautiful image. All right, same thing with this Lego piece. So if you ever have any, toys lying around your house, toys tend to have a lot of repetition. So it's fun to experiment with toys. But these Legos have these really cool, consistent repetition kind of happening throughout the surface of them. What's neat about this image also I'd like to emphasize is that just this front line and the second line are in perfect focus. The rest of the photo is kind of blurred out, which means that the photographer was using an open aperture, right? So that the background created a soft blur because the closer it has that depth of field. So we want to make sure that we have some kind of interesting blur technique is a really fun way to emphasize repetition as the subject. Okay, same kind of in this kind of picture over here. Now this is a really common photo. Every year I see lots and lots of pictures of guitars or instruments, which is still cool. You can still experiment. It's just really rare that I see anything that's unique. So if you want to do guitar pictures, make sure you do some research online and make sure that you have, seen what's out there before you decide to shoot. Make sure that you find images that are different and you create images that are different than you've seen before, maybe from a different line. But this is a really beautiful image kind of emphasizing repetition, but again, we get this object that is emphasized because the repetition is all around it and it's leading our eye and drawing our eye in. So pay attention to that as you shoot.